Welcome to Momo TV. Today we are traveling in Shanghai, China's largest city, its financial hub, and one of the world's most dazzling skylines. From here at the Park Hyatt, high above the Huangpu River, you can see the symbols of Shanghai's rise. To the right, the glowing sphere of the Oriental Pearl Tower, once the city's boldest icon of modernity. Next to it, the Jinmao Tower, with its elegant tiered design inspired by pagodas. Rising even higher, the Shanghai World Financial Center, with its distinctive trapezoid cutout nicknamed the Bottle Opener. And on the far left, dominating the skyline, the Shanghai Tower, the tallest building in China. Here we are approaching Waibaidu Bridge, also called the Garden Bridge, one of Shanghai's most beloved landmarks. Built in 1908, it is China's first fully steel-riveted bridge and remains the only surviving camelback truss bridge of its kind in the country. Its predecessor wooden bridges, names like Wells Bridge and Garden Bridge, served as both essential river crossings and social meeting points. But those early structures couldn't keep up with Shanghai's growing energy. Eventually, the steel Waibaidu was built to carry trams, cars, and people over the confluence of the Suzhou Creek and Huangpu River. For many in Shanghai, Waibaidu is more than infrastructure. It's part of the city's collective memory. Older residents call it the Grandma's Bridge, Waipo Qiao, a name that suggests comfort, nostalgia, and stories passed down through generations. Through wars, upheavals, and rapid modernization, Waibaidu has witnessed it all. Refugees escaping danger via its path, eras of colonial influence, the rise of skyline architecture beside it. Even today, couples use it as a romantic photo spot. Filmmakers, TV dramas, and wedding photographers often frame the bridge as a symbol of old Shanghai beauty. Architecturally, its design is striking. Steel trusses shaped like camel humps, riveted joints, pedestrian walkways flanking the vehicle lanes. At night, the span of lights reflecting on water, the sounds of the traffic, footsteps, and river flow. It becomes a stage, bridging past and present. As we turn southward, our eyes are drawn to a striking red monument rising at the northern tip of Huangpu Park, the Shanghai People's Heroes Memorial Tower. Standing 24 meters tall, this concrete tribute is made of 3 rifles leaned together, a powerful image of sacrifice, unity, and remembrance. Built in 1993 by the municipal government, it honors not only those who died in revolution, but also those who lost their lives to natural disasters. Welcome to the Bund, Shanghai's legendary riverfront, where stone and light tell a story of power, change, and elegance. In this 1.5-kilometer stretch along the western bank of the Huangpu River, more than 50 grand buildings stand side by side, a gallery of architectural styles: Beaux-Arts, Neoclassical, Gothic, Renaissance, Art Deco. Nearly 2 centuries ago, Shanghai was a small fishing village. Then, in 1842, after the First Opium War, foreign powers won treaty rights and began reshaping parts of Shanghai into foreign concessions. The Bund was born from that crossroads. It became the financial, social, and diplomatic heart of colonial Shanghai. Banks, trading houses, consulates, clubs. In the 1920s and 30s, as business boomed, the Bund rose to its golden age. Shanghai was called the Paris of the East, Oriental Wall Street. Elegant trams, horse-drawn carriages, silk dresses, everyone who mattered passed through here. But history left scars too. Political upheavals, war, revolution. The Bund's grand edifices saw fortunes rise and fall. Yet even during the mid-20th century, when many colonial institutions were closed or repurposed, the structures remained. Their facades aged, but their presence endured. In recent decades, Shanghai has embraced the Bund again, restoring those buildings, widening the promenades, lighting up the facades, and inviting millions of people to walk here each night. The juxtaposition is striking. On one side, these timeless facades. On the other, across the river, Pudong's futuristic towers reflected in the dark water. The Bund isn't just a photo spot. It's a place where past and future meet, where every lamppost, every carved cornice, and every gilded dome feels alive with story. And tonight, strolling along this riverfront, with lights shimmering on the Huangpu River, you can feel why the Bund remains Shanghai's most iconic stage. Standing tall at 20 East Nanjing Road, the Fairmont Peace Hotel has watched Shanghai change, shimmer, survive, and still stand with grace. Originally opened in 1929 as the Cathay Hotel, its north building was built by Sir Victor Sassoon and designed by the Palmer and Turner firm. The architecture itself is a masterpiece. Art Deco curves, granite facades, copper roofing, and a rooftop pyramid that once made this building the tallest in its surroundings. Inside, the decor mixes East meets West luxury, Italian marbles, Lalique glass, opulent lighting, and sweeping corridors. It was built to be the most luxurious mansion east of the Suez. One of the most storied features is its national suites, each room themed in different foreign styles: Indian rugs, Chinese antiques, Japanese tatami, European influences. Guests from across the world, elites and creatives, have made it their stay. Over time, Peace Hotel has become more than a hotel. It's a symbol of old Shanghai, glamour in exile, jazz echoes, sunlit afternoons in the Jasmine Lounge, late-night cocktails in the Jazz Bar, a place where the Bund illuminates both history and night skies. On the opposite shore of the Huangpu River, across from the colonial grandeur of the Bund, lies Pudong, Shanghai's future framed in steel, glass, and light. Its skyline is now one of the most iconic in the world. Let's walk through what you see, what lives inside, and what you can do up there, above the city lights. First, the tallest, Shanghai Tower, 632 meters, 128 stories, China's tallest skyscraper and one of the tallest in the world. Within its twisting form live observation decks that reach skyward nearly 561 meters, the world's fastest elevators, and sky lounges where evening cocktails pair with 360-degree views stretching to the horizon. Next, just beside it, behold the Shanghai World Financial Center, often called the bottle opener for the shape at its top. It houses offices, luxury shops, fine dining, and an observation deck with skywalks, where at night you can peer through glass to see the lights of both the tower and the river below. Closer to the Bund line, across the water, you'll spot the Jinmao Tower, 420.5 meters tall with 88 floors, a blend of modern skyscraper and ancient pagoda in its design. Inside it lives the Grand Hyatt Shanghai, floors 53 to 87. Galleries, observation platforms, even a skywalk for brave visitors. The 88th floor gives you sweeping views of both the futuristic and the historic side of Shanghai. Amid these giants are smaller towers too, like the sleek Aurora Plaza, the twin-towered BOCOM Financial Towers, and the newer shimmering edges of Qiantan Center. Each building has its own lighting design, its moment as you walk by at dusk. What can you do here? If you want to feel on top of Shanghai, literally, ride the express elevator up the Shanghai Tower to the observation deck, catch sunset or nightfall from the 118th floor, and stay for dinner or cocktails at level 119th. Or in Jinmao, climb to the skywalk, sip tea or snacks at Cloud 9 bar high in the clouds, then gaze across at the lit-up Oriental Pearl just across the river. There are rooftop bars, fancy hotel lounges, and cafes with floor-to-ceiling windows everywhere you look. Even in this blinding modernity, there's artistry. how lights trace the edges of buildings, how reflections ripple on water, how every illuminated logo competes softly with the moon and the stars. Pudong is more than just towers. It's a panorama of Shanghai's ambition, where commerce, tourism, and architecture merge into an unforgettable skyline that pulses with life long after sunset. As we stroll the Bund tonight, each of these grand stone buildings tells a chapter in Shanghai's history of foreign investment, architecture, and rebirth. These buildings are more than decoration. They are memorials of commerce and change. Take the HSBC building, completed in 1923. It was once the center of global trade finance for the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation, known back then as one of the most luxurious bank buildings between the Suez Canal and the Bering Strait. Its interior banking hall with marble, bronze lions, domed ceiling, today restored, is a bridge between colonial grandeur and modern finance. After decades under state control, it now houses the Shanghai Pudong Development Bank, merging old prestige with new era banking. Next door and all along this stretch, you'll spot other historic financial institutions repurposed. The Bank of Communications building at number 14 used to be the Deutsche Asiatische Bank. It was taken over, rebuilt, and after 1949 transitioned in use. Today, it serves different civic and commercial purposes, though its facade still carries that Art Deco flair and architectural dignity. There's also the Banque de l'Indochine building, number 29, a fully French-funded branch built in 1914. It weathered wars, regime change, neglect, and now lives again as the home of China Everbright Bank. It is an example of how old colonial bank buildings are being reactivated rather than demolished. Looking deeper, after China's open-door reforms starting in 1978 to 1979, foreign banks were gradually permitted back. One of the first to re-establish operations as China liberalized was HSBC, which reopened its Shanghai branch, though not immediately in the landmark building, and over time resumed presence in emblematic Bund buildings. Thanks for watching. See you in our next episode.